I'd like to call this meeting to order and welcome all to the regular meeting of the Brockton Housing Authority. It's being held on Zoom today, and the agenda is as follows. Chairman is Timothy J. Sullivan. Vice Chairman Ernest Pettiford. Janet Trask is the member. David Texera is our treasurer. Carol Roberts is our assistant treasurer. I just have this one little statement to read about the open meeting. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and state of emergency, on March 12, 2020, Governor Baker issued an executive order temporarily suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20. Pursuant to the order, public bodies are temporarily relieved from the open meeting laws requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate and alternative means. One more statement. The Brockton Housing Authority will meet virtually on Thursday, November 19, 2020 at 2 p.m. Due to social distancing guidelines related to the COVID-19 state of emergency, this meeting will be held remotely, not at the Brockton Housing Authority's offices. The public is invited to view and/or listen to the meeting via phone, computer, laptop, or tablet. To do so, download the Zoom Cloud Meeting app in any app store or at www.zoom.us. At 2:00 p.m. on November 19, 2020, click on to join the meeting and enter the meeting. ID number 844-3790-1653, or use the link http://zoom.us/j/844-379-01653. You may also join by calling the conference line at 1-646-558-8656 at 2 p.m. on November 19, 2020, and enter the passcode 844-379-01653, followed by the pound sign. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Tom Tevel's got the flag behind him. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tom, we have two roll calls to do. One is to create a quorum, to make sure we have a quorum, and then the roll call for who's here.
Okay.
Even though it's the same.
I will start. Commissioner Roberts,
This is the quorum, to create a quorum.
Commissioner Texera,
Here.
Commissioner Trask,
Here.
and Commissioner Sullivan.
Here. Item 1, a roll call, Mr. Tebow. We have a quorum.
Commissioner Roberts,
Here.
Commissioner Texera,
Here.
Commissioner Trask,
Here.
and Commissioner Sullivan.
Here. Item 2, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of October 22nd, 2020. Item A in your packets, Mr. Tebow.
I have had the opportunity to review the minutes. I have found them to be in order, and I would recommend that the board approve them as written.
Okay. Motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 22nd, 2020 as written.
Second.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Carol Roberts, seconded by Commissioner David Texera, to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 22nd, 2020 as written. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Here.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, yes. And just one item. We don't have to read off the whole motion, Carol, and David, and Janet. It's just, you all have to say, so moved.
Oh, so, okay,
It just saves time.
yeah.
Item 3, hearing of visitors. I have a little statement to read about that as well. Any member of the public is invited to speak before the board. Visitors wishing to be heard will be allowed 3 minutes to speak on each subject. The board will take any issues under advisement and respond at a later date. Total time for hearing of visitors will be limited to 15 minutes. Are there any hearing of visitors?
It's all professional staff and board members other than Sheila and Karen. I don't know if they would like to make a statement or if they're here just for their item. No,
Any hearing of visitors?
no hearing of visitors.
Thank you.
Hearing none. Item 4, correspondence. Mr. Tebow?
You have the narrow newsletter. That's the only bit of correspondence. The good news is that the governor has proposed to keep the subsidy for the state public housing program level. That's good because we are expecting a substantial cut. I believe the House of Representatives have come in with a $75 million number, so that's an increase. We'll see if that gets cut. But overall, the finances for the state program are on very shaky ground, and they're trying to hold it up.
Any questions on the correspondence? Hearing none. Item 5. Approval of the bills for the special meeting of November 19, 2020. Item B in your packets. Mr. Texiera?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I did had a chance to review the bill for the month of October. And we had a few questions with all that, so I will make a motion, so move.
Second,
A motion has been made by Commissioner David Texiera, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts. Motion is to approve the bills for the special meeting of the November 19, 2020 as presented. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes,
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
You know, I'd just like to add before we move on, I think we should have a moment of silence for Susan's husband and for the woman who was killed on Pleasant Street yesterday, who was a resident of Bel Air Towers, as Tom let us know.
Just, Janet, we did have a moment of silence for Sue's husband already at the last meeting.
Okay,
But
well,
we can have another one.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you.
Item 6, acceptance of resignation of Patricia Hughes, receptionist, Exhibit C in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
This is another a bit of sad news, although she's doing better. Patricia was working for us as a tenant coordinator. Recently, the board hired her as a receptionist at 1090 Main Street, the Surgery Building, and she became very ill and had to leave the position. She is doing better now, but cannot return to work full-time.
Wow, wow.
Hmm. Okay.
We need a motion, item 6.
so move.
Second,
Was that Carol?
Wasn't me, was Janet.
Janet,
Janet?
yes.
Motion's been made by Commissioner David Texiera, seconded by Commissioner Janet Trask. Motion is to accept with regret the resignation of Patricia Hughes, receptionist, effective October 21st, 2020. Roll call, Mr. Tebow. Any questions on the motion before the roll call? Roll call, Mr. Tebow? Hearing none?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes,
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Item 7, approval of the management agreement between the Brockton Housing Authority and the Abington Housing Authority. Exhibit D in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
So we have been managing the Abington Housing Authority for 4 years now. The contract has come up. It's been going very well. We have some good professional staff over there. So I would recommend that the Housing Authority continue its agreement with the Abington Housing Authority. The fee is set based upon the executive director's salary schedule that is determined by DHCD. And as I said, I just think it's been a good relationship between the two authorities.
We need a motion, item 7.
so moved.
Second.
How many residents are there, Tom, in Abington?
They have 112 elderly disabled units. They have 2 family homes, they're scattered site, single-family homes, and they have 86 Section 8 vouchers. They approved this last night. We had a board meeting there last night, and they're very happy with the relationship. As they said, they were a little bit worried in the beginning because we're so big and they're smaller, but it has turned out to be, again, a very symbiotic relationship between the two.
Good.
Did we already have a motion on that? Sue, I don't remember.
Yeah, motion by Janet Trask
Yeah.
and second by
Yeah.
Carol Vaughn.
Any other questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes,
the chairman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimous. Motion carries 4 and 1 missing.
Yeah.
Item 8, award of contract, on-call electrical repairs and maintenance. Exhibit E in your packets. Mr. Tebow?
So this is part of a concerted effort to bring all of our procurement up to speed. Mr. Christopher will speak on it, and this is for contracted electrical repairs and maintenance. Mr. DeChristopher?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Hey, Manny.
Good afternoon.
This is an contract for on-call electrical repairs and maintenance. On October 19th, 2020, the Brockton Housing Authority advertised for qualified electrical contracts for routine maintenance and repairs that cannot be performed by current staff. This work will be awarded to 3 responsive and responsible bidders that meet the qualifications set in the bid pack. This is a 3-year contract not to exceed a limitation amount of $150,000 over the duration of the contract. On November 3rd, 2020, the submission deadline, we received 3 bids as reflected on the bid tally sheet. The lower responsible bidders were W.S. Anderson of Electric of 617 Center Street, Brockton, J.L. Electric of 4 Northville Ave, East Bridgewater, and Stadelman Electric of 134th Street, Brockton, Mass. Recommended action is the motion to award the contract in the amount of $150,000 to W.S. Anderson Electric of Brockton, Mass, GL Electric of East Bridgewater, and Stadelman Electric of Brockton, Mass.
Vinnie, could you explain one thing?
Sure.
The $150,000, is that per company or per
Per
year?
company, it's 50,000. It doesn't exceed $50,000 per year for each company.
And do you have a system how they're going to be called?
We do it. We keep a log on how they go in rotation on each time we need one. I do that with the contractors. Now, every time they're called out, we note it, and then I note down how much we spent, so I keep it so that the monies that are spent, it's pretty much evenly divided through the 3 contractors. so that I do keep a track of it.
Okay. We need a motion, item 8.
So move.
Second,
Carol, was that you that moved it?
Yes.
Just, it's hard to, I can't see any mouths moving or anything. David, that was you that second?
yes,
A motion's been made by Commissioner Carol Roberts, seconded by Commissioner David Texera. Motion is to award a 3-year contract in the amount of $150,000 to W.S. Anderson Electric of Brockton, Mass., R.J.L. Electric of East Bridgewater, Mass., and Stadelman Electric of Brockton, Mass., for an on-call electrical repairs and maintenance. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
yes,
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Item 9, review of financial comparatives. Exhibit F in your packets, Mr. Tebow?
So things are going very well. I'd like Mr. Pacious to address the financial comparatives, if you could.
Sure. What you have in front of you is our financial comparatives up to September 30th, which is 3/4 of our fiscal year. Right now, all of our programs are doing well, with exception to the state program. The 3 other state programs, the 689s and the MRVP programs, are doing relatively well. But, you know, again, our state 400 program, which encompasses our public housing residences, are very much in need of good influx of cash by DHCD. The federal programs are doing well. They're right on target as far as where we expected they would be at this point in the fiscal year. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to help answer any.
If I could make one point, every program is a surplus, including the state. It's just a very small surplus. Mr. DeChristopher called me a couple times in the last month to let me know that boilers let go and stuff. Those are things that This is Commissioner Pettifat on the other phone. I'm just going to mute myself for a second.
Michael, can you hear me?
Yes.
Which one is DHCD? Which,
DHCD is the overseer of the state programs, which would be the 400, the 689, 1 and 2, and the MRVP program that you see on those individual comparatives.
one, Michael, is there 2 pages to this?
Yes. Yeah.
I only have one.
Is that the cover sheet?
I have other pages, but I have one cover sheet, that's all.
Oh, yeah, there should have been a second page that has the state 689 and MRVP, just a short description as to, you know, how they're doing. But the state has a $73,000, $460 surplus. The 689-1 program has a $7,000, $203 surplus, and the 689-2 program has a $2,177 surplus. The MRVP program has a $12,497 surplus. So
that's a surplus for everything.
yeah, but you know, the state has to have minimum reserves of the state 400 program is required to have minimum reserves of 35%, which right now I believe they're at about anywhere between 7 to 12%. So that's, you know, something that we're working with DHCD on to give us a good influx of cash or help us in some other way.
Just one comment I have. It's very good, Michael. This is the best I've seen in a long time.
Thank you.
Mhm.
It's all a collective effort, that's for sure. Vinnie's maintenance department and you know, everyone within finance and Tom Tebow really leading the charge and so forth. So
I want to spend the money. They won't let me.
We need a motion, item 9, from anybody?
So move.
Second,
A motion has been made by Commissioner David Texera, seconded by Commissioner Janet Trask. Motion is to accept the financial comparatives for the period ending September 30th, 2020, and put on file. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
yes,
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Ernie's not here, Tom?
Ernie is having problems getting in. The password isn't letting him in. My suggestion is, and I'll speak to Mr. Ahern to see if we can get him a laptop computer for future meetings, because the process he's going through seems to be much more difficult than the laptop. It requires, you know, the punching, and he's got one of those flip phones that just takes forever and ever to do it.
Okay, and the motion carries 4-0.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
could we take Ms. Wagner's appointment out of order? I can see that she's out of her car and is now, it looks like she was off her break and went back inside to work. I don't know if she's number 11 or number 12.
I only came inside because my phone was dying. So it's okay.
Okay.
It's either number 11 or 12.
all right, we'll go out of
Number
order and go to item 11, appointment of home ownership leasing agent. Exhibit H in your packets. Mr. Tebow.
If I could ask Mr. Pluff to speak on this item, please.
for a minute.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Tebow, members of the board. We had 2 openings for homeownership leasing agents, which are the clerks in the Section 8 department. One was the resignation of Victoria Gausher, and the second was the promotion of Tamara Collymore. So we have 2 openings. The first one, we're recommending Sheila Wagner, Chris Lane, Bonnie, myself, and Tamara Collymore did the interviews. We had advertised in the newspaper, posted it online, on our website. We had 9 resumes that came in. We interviewed, I believe, 4, and Ms. Wagner and Karen, who's going to be the next one, both impressed us very much. I'll talk about Ms. Wagner first. She worked for a number of years at a credit union, moving herself up through it. She had to leave that job due to a family emergency, and now has been working at UPS at the counter. You can see she's working hard, but anybody who can work at UPS at the counter can handle our clientele who are, in need of assistance. And her banking background will come in great stead with her working in the Section 8 department, working with landlords, working with numbers, working with the program. So all 3 of us were very impressed, and we can recommend Ms. Wagner. As Mr. Christopher could tell you, she was a finalist for the job in his department, but she just missed out on that one, the position that you appointed last month in the maintenance office.
And if I could add, I had the opportunity to speak with Ms. Wagner. I look for work ethic type issues. dedication to position. She impressed me. She impressed me with what she does in her personal life and taking care of her family and the hard work that she does. So I think she'll be a good fit to the Brockton Housing Authority.
Thank you.
Hang on, Mr. Are you rushing back to work?
No, sir.
Okay. We need a motion, item 11.
Second,
So moved.
first. Go ahead, Janet. I'm ahead of myself.
In a second.
Second.
Carol.
Was that you, Carol? Second?
Yes, second.
A motion's been made by Commissioner Janet Trask, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts. Motion is to appoint Sheila Wagner of Brockton, Mass. To the position of home ownership leasing agent at the step one rate of $41,576 per annum, effective December 7, 2020. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes,
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
and Commissioner Sullivan.
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Welcome aboard, Sheila.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Sheila.
Thank you.
At this time, you would shake all the board members' hands, but we don't do that now, I guess.
Oh, shit.
Yes, I understand.
Welcome, Sheila.
Thank you.
Sheila, you're welcome to stay. We have a couple more items on the agenda. You're welcome to stay if you want.
Yes, sir.
Don't you have a question, Tim?
What's that, Tom?
Don't you have a question? Or a statement?
It's not done yet.
I was gonna get the both at the same time.
Oh, all right, okay. All right.
We're still going out of order because we didn't do number 10.
If you want to do number 12, that would be great.
yeah,
We'll skip 10 again and go to 12,
yeah.
which is the appointment of home ownership leasing agent, Exhibit I in the packets. Mr. Tebow, item 12.
If I could ask Mr. Plouffe to speak on this also.
Yes, again, thank you very much, members of the board. Thank you, Mr. Tebow. As I just said, we have 2 openings in the Section 8 department. We went through the same interview process with Karen Casignol as we did with the previous candidate. This Zoom interview is good. It's, you know, you get to see people's faces as opposed to having somebody sit down the other end of the table in a mask. But I can't wait till we're back to our lives being normal. But Karen's been working at the Brockton Housing Authority for a little while now. We hired her as a part-time receptionist down at 1090 Main Street in the admissions department. So to cover breaks, cover vacations, etc. She's done a great job at that. Always shows up when she's supposed to show up, always punctual. She's bilingual in English and Haitian Creole. She has her full-time job now is working for Shields Healthcare, doing customer service, working with the patients, with the insurance companies, et cetera, et cetera. So that type of customer service, again, is what we're looking for in Section 8. And before that, she has also had banking experience working at Harbor One for many years. Again, something that will stand her in good stead in the Section 8 department, where they're doing so many calculations of rent, and utility allowances, and whose share is what. So we were very impressed with Karen. Tramita won't be very happy that we're stealing another one of her employees. But what happens is that people move up. And so we can wholeheartedly recommend Karen for a position as a homeownership leasing agent.
If I could ask one question, Karen, how many children do you have at home remote learning?
I have 3.
There's 4 children, 3 at home, remote learning. If she can do that, she can handle the rental assistance department. So she's also, I do want to mention that both candidates are residents of Brockton, one a neighbor of you, Sue, and the other one a neighbor of yours, Janet, Ettrick Street. I was very impressed with Karen's responses, as I said, to work ethic, and so I think she'll do very well. And obviously, the bilingual attribute is in great need.
Karen, you live on Ettrick?
Yes, I do.
Nice. You're my neighbor. Yes.
I lived here for about more than 10 years.
Yeah, and you pronounce your name Karen?
Yes.
We need a motion, item 12.
So moved.
Who was that?
That was a tie.
Yeah, second. I'll be in second.
That Carol
Yes.
and Janet Trask? It's hard on this computer, trying to figure it out.
No, I know.
We have a motion from Commissioner Carol Roberts, seconded by Commissioner Janet Trask. Motion is to appoint Karen Casnell of Brockton, Mass. to the position of home ownership leasing agent at the step 1 rate of $41,576 per annum, effective December 7th, 2020. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries
So
4-0.
we shake your hand too, Karen.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Karen. Look forward to working with you.
Karen, and Sheila, I got one statement to make to Karen first. Well, you said you worked at, where, Westgate Mall, Shields?
Yes. I work at the back office.
Just to show you what a small world it is, the owner of that, Mr. Shields, I have coffee with him every morning
Oh,
in
wow.
Florida, every day in December. I'll be seeing him in a couple of weeks.
Better put in a good word for her.
The other statement I wanted to make, and Sheila, you can state, there's only a few more items afterwards, but I just wanted to state that we make sure that our residents are number one, and keep in mind that they could have a bad day any particular day. These people, some of them are older, and some of them need a little bit of help, and we're here for them. And what I tell everybody is, if we don't have the tenants, we don't need you, and they don't need me. We keep that in mind, both of you, Karen and Sheila.
Yes, sir.
Put our tenants number one.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Welcome aboard. I'd shake your hands. I can't reach through the
Thank you.
computer, though.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Normally now, I'd ask to be excused from the meeting. I'd take you over to the office and see Donna and start going through stuff. But if you both want to call Donna tomorrow and arrange, and she'll send you out packets and talk to you a little bit. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
December 7th, what, a couple of weeks away?
2 weeks from, yes, sir.
Okay. You got plenty of time.
Yes.
Give your notices.
Yes.
I'm probably gonna go do that right now.
And Susan, if I'm not mistaken, we're going back to item 10.
Yes. Yes.
Item 10, review of 2019 Brockton Housing Authority's financial audit. Exhibit G in your packets. Mr. Tebow.
So each year we have a financial audit. The group comes in from Atlanta. They review all our books. And since I've been the executive director, we've had a audit free of findings. And so I was awful disappointed this time to find we had 2 findings. I'll explain what they are. The first one has to do with the procurement of a contractor who was doing floors with us. And what happened is we procured them as a small contractor, but as we did more and more floors, the amount built up, and we did not go out for using the procedure to do a larger procurement. This is a situation that I knew and felt was a weakness. 3 years ago, the board approved the budget with the position of procurement and compliance officer in it. And unfortunately, we didn't have the funds to fund the position fully. So as we go through this organization review, and we'll be talking about getting a position that does encompass that, but that was one issue. The second issue is a little bit odd because the person who made the mistake has been with us for some time, but when a person was on Social Security, for some reason, when it was put into the computer, it didn't update the Social Security amount. And that was for 10 files. So they pulled those 10 files and said it's not updating. So the people, their rent was a little lower than it should have been. So if they got a 2% raise in Social Security, their rent should have been up by a couple dollars, whatever that would have been. So we've addressed that issue. We have instituted some training on it. And again, the compliance officer would be a person would be pulling files, random files to take a look at this. So one was a surprise. The other one was I was concerned about it. We've instituted some processes now to do that. Other than that, the review was found to be good. The finances of the Housing Authority, the books are in very good shape. They were very impressed. In fact, when I spoke to them about the audit, they were very impressed with our financial staff and how they execute their fiduciary duties to make sure that we're spending the money where we're supposed to be spending it and accounting for it.
We need a motion, item 10.
So moved. Janet? Second.
David, was that you?
Oh, I'll do second. Janet can do the motion.
Janet, you made the motion?
Yeah.
Seconded, David?
Yes.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Janet Trask, seconded by Commissioner David Texera. Motion is to accept the 2019 Brockton Housing Authority's financial audit and put on file. Any questions on the motion?
No.
Was that a question from somebody?
Mm-mm.
Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Item 13. David, you're going to take this?
I'll take over.
What do I have to do, Tom? I have to leave the meeting?
Yep, so you're going to recuse yourself and leave the meeting, and I will call you and let you know when the item is done.
Okay. Thank you.
Item 13, award of contract, wellness contract. Jay?
So if I could speak to this, we have been working to do whatever we could to address the mental health issues that are coming out of this COVID. We have, as you know, many people who are disabled, many people who suffer from depression in regular time. And this virus has isolated so many of our people. And it's also caused issues in families. I don't know if any of you have family members who have, there's fights between the mom and the kids because the kids want to go out with their friends and act like 20-year-olds, go play basketball and soccer and whatever else. And I know that these issues have been coming up. So our service coordination program does not provide service, they coordinate it. So when we find these problems, we recommend that they get counseling, and the list for counseling is well over 6 months long. So the people just go without any assistance. I spoke to Commissioner Roberts earlier today, about how things were at Caffrey Towers, and I think she said a little crazy, I think was the word she used, or
Yes.
yeah. I mean, people are getting, they're at the end of their rope in a number of cases. And sometimes that's, that people blow off steam in a good way, sometimes not in a good way, and other times they just regress into their depression. So we did put out a request for proposals for a person who would do triage type counseling. In other words, a person who could counsel people and would do it while they're waiting for a counselor. And the Housing Authority can pay the fees for it using our COVID funds, CARES Act funds. So we put it out. We received a response from Serenity Counseling. They have several counselors who could work. They can address all of the issues that we have. Their price, once we went through that, Fred Welsh and I went through and found they met all the criteria. We opened up the fee and found the fee to be very reasonable. If you were to go to a counselor, you're going to pay a minimum of $85 an hour, probably going to be more in most cases. So I'm making the recommendation that we award the a 36-month contract to Wellness Services, Serenity Counseling and Wellness Center of West Bridgewater, beginning December 1st, for an amount not to exceed $150,000.
Okay, Tom, before we vote on this, was there an actual letter? Because I'm missing J.
Yes, the J was not on there.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But it is J if we went through it, but the J was not on there.
Okay.
Is the $150,000 what we got from COVID?
No, we got millions.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I shouldn't say millions. Michael, I don't know if you're here. It's quite a bit of money. We spent $300,000 on police during that period. We're spending at least a couple $100,000 on disinfectant of all of our elderly buildings. Every day, 7 days a week, we have Burgess come in and they wipe down all the common areas. How much money did we get overall, Michael, an estimate?
About $2.1 million between
Wow.
Section 8 and federal public housing and state housing.
Yeah.
Okay.
This would be over a 3-year period.
Yes. Yep.
Any other question?
Can I just ask if any staff have become COVID positive?
Yes.
Okay, and are they getting counseling if they need it too?
Yes, the virus itself hasn't caused much of an issue. It's, as I said, the family issues, alcoholism and drug abuse is going way up. But our staff that has got it, all, by the way, have gotten it from outside the Housing Authority and have not spread it inside the Housing Authority because of the protocols that we use. Number one is the mask, right?
Right.
And washing the hands and making sure. So we have had 4 or 5 people have been positive.
Yes.
Oh, I got one question, Tom. How many people, I know it's $150,000 for the counseling. How many people can how many people can go and see counselor so we can exceed the 150,000?
So if we divide that, I don't think we'll get close to it. If you take 150,000 divided by 86, that would be 50,000 divided by 86. 1,744. I don't think we'll get there, but the procurement rules say you have to have an amount not to exceed when you do a request for proposals.
Okay.
Have we had this company before?
We have not, no. No. We're looking for, we're looking to get access for our residents. We're sort of jumping a line here. And we're using the funds to say, okay, if we have some funds, we can do it so that our people can get some. And, again, if they go to Brockton Hospital, if you know Brockton Hospital, they have a psychiatric ward. I don't know if they call it.
Yeah.
But they just turn them around and send them home in 24 hours. And then
Yes, they do.
people wait and wait and wait and wait for
Do.
yeah. So,
Yes, they
and we have
do.
a couple in your building, you know, Carol, who have
Oh, yes.
had to go over on a regular basis.
I can count them on my hand. Every 7 days, the ambulance pulls up to take them out.
Yeah.
You know, and is this going to be by appointment?
Yes. So what will
Okay.
happen is we will refer people, we'll do notifications to the residents that it's available. We'll have our staff refer people, but yeah, it'll be by appointment.
Oh, because I have a list for you. I've already talked to them.
All right, good. Wonderful. Again, if we can get the people help, then it's a legitimate use of the money. I'm all for it. And any of the asset managers will tell you, David, you're a landlord, so the asset managers are landlords. They oversee the lease, and they're not prepared to deal with mental health issues. You know, they try because they have to. And all the other issues that it causes with the neighbors and the, you know,
Yes.
tranquility of the place. So we need to do whatever we can to address it.
Usually we've had BAMSI previously, correct?
BMZ is service coordination, so they don't provide they don't provide counseling. What they do is try to link you up to counselors. So they call over to the Whitman Counseling Center, which they run, and that's where Fred's telling me there's a 6-month waiting list over there.
Wow.
Yeah,
South Bay Mental
No.
Health, the same thing.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it's
But they need some people who really need counseling because really become manic depressant, crying every single day. It's not a good sign.
Any other question? No? Okay,
Okay.
all right, so let's move it, and
need a motion.
I need the motion.
Well,
So
so
moved.
moved. We did it again, huh?
I know. Well, it's so easy because it's 2 words. Usually we have to read long things.
Good. I'll second it.
Whatever.
So we got a motion from Janet Trash, and a second from Karen. Motion to award the 36 months contract to Wilderness Service to the Cemetery Counselor of Wilderness Center of West Bridgewater, Mass. Begin December 1st, 2024, on amount not to exceed $150,000. The program will be available on the annual basis to ensure the program is provide the service needed by the authority residents. Any other questions?
We need to do a roll call.
A roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera.
Yes.
1 second, I'm going to call Tim Sullivan.
Hello?
Hi, Tim, you can come back on.
What do I gotta punch in all those numbers again?
No, you're actually on.
I had shut it. I couldn't hear nothing. Wait. Oh, yeah, it's here. Hello?
Hi. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Mhm.
It just, I didn't get a chance to say it because I forgot to, but I left the meeting because it was, just in case there was a conflict of interest involved in that item. Did item 13 pass or what happened?
It passed.
The motion carries 3-0, item 13. Item 14, Executive Director Report. Mr. Tebow?
Tom, you're muted.
Thank you very much, Tom, or whoever told me I was muted. So as you know, we're doing an organizational review. A lot of our staff have been spoken to. I had a meeting yesterday. Once they do their work to understand how we're working and where we're strong, where our weaknesses are, they will want to speak to you as board members, but they do have quite a bit more work to do. I would expect sometime in December. They can do it by phone, they can do it by Zoom. They can do it, they could actually meet you somewhere if you wanted to. I don't think, Tim, with you, you'll probably be in Florida, although they might want to go down and see you.
Yeah, we should all go.
So that's going on. I think it's going well. We have 3 people in the maintenance department who are out on workman's compensation. 2 of them are very serious workman compensation issues. So we're going to be working with that. I know it's been a struggle for Vinny, but they're doing a good job to address as many things as we can. We're on the virus. One of the things that we're doing down at the Campello high rise in Melissa Pagan's office, we're doing a little build out so residents can come in and meet, and they'll be safe and Melissa will be safe. I get a report on almost a daily basis of COVID cases at the Housing Authority. Our levels are much, much smaller than the citywide. In fact, the family developments are now being hit harder than the elderly developments. And that's like, we are seeing it across the country. Younger people are, again, getting sick and tired of being told not to get together with other younger people. And that's a very difficult thing to do. Admissions, I have asked Mr. Plouffe and Mrs. Rose to do some overtime, do whatever they can to prepare people to get Section 8 vouchers or to go into apartments. I don't think it's going to get easier to do, so we'd like to get as many people. Most of the people aren't on the street, but they're probably doubled up or tripled up in places, which is a horrible situation with COVID virus. So I know they're working diligently. Usually the person who goes out and shows apartments is Kim Boyd, but the entire staff is now working on it down at admissions, and they're doing a great job. And Vinny keeps pushing vacant units, turning them around and turning them in. So there's quite a backlog to get to there. Mr. DeChristopher will be out for a couple of weeks on medical leave, and so won't Mr. Barry is out on medical leave right now. They're going out for medical tune-ups. I won't go any further than that. But Mr. Barry's doing well, and he should be back shortly. And I know being in great physical shape that Mr. DeChristopher's in, he'll rebound quick also. On the program where we're trying to transfer the public housing to the Section 8 platform, so from public housing to Section 8, we will be doing outreach starting next week with our residents. We'll be putting poster boards down in the lobbies. We are doing some newsletters that will go out to all the residents. We'll have them translated in, there'll be English, Spanish, Cape Verdean Creole, Haitian Creole. So we're working with the Cambridge Housing Authority on that, and they've been wonderful to work with. So we'll be doing that. And today, if I know Commissioner, well, I think all of you know that there was a problem. I didn't know if I was going to be able to get on this call. We are switching over to new fiber optics, which is a wonderful thing. It'll be much more stable. But when we switched over, it worked fine. Our email worked fine. Our network worked fine. The internet worked fine. Our phones shut all off. So because they just wanted to give me a heart attack, Michael Pacious, they decided to flip it back to the other system at 1:30, and that was why we were down. But they brought it up. But it is a wonderful thing. There's high-speed fiber that runs down Main Street in Brockton, and it's really a benefit to the city. I know that the city is selling it. I know Rob May is trying to get it out to businesses to build up what's happening downtown, and we will be on that probably next week. I guess the words I was told is a router got fried, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So And that's my executive director's report.
We need a motion to approve and put on file.
So move.
Second,
A motion's been made by Commissioner David Texera, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts. Motion is to approve the executive director's report and put on file. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
and Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Item 15, old business. Any old business?
Nope. Oh,
Hearing none. Item 16, new business. Any new business? Item 16 and a half, any monkey business?
When you leaving?
December 1st.
okay.
And item 17,
Tropical place you're going to.
I cut you off, Tom. What was that?
Commissioner Texera usually has some tropical place he's heading off to.
Yes, I am. Second week.
And COVID doesn't worry you?
No, I just had my test done last week. I'm good. I got my mask. I'm full of masks.
Janet, I had 2 tests done. Cardinal Cushion and Massasoit. I was in line with Tom at the same time.
Really?
Mhm.
So just for your information, this is another issue. Hopefully it doesn't, and it's something I get concerned with our residents. So we're working on BMG to get our on-site testing again. I went to Massasoit Saturday at 2:10. It's open from 2 o'clock till 7.
Yeah.
The line went, that parking lot that we were in, it filled the full parking lot and then went out on the Thatcher Street. The police officer would not
Wow.
get in line.
Well, they weave around there. I mean, I'm sure it takes hours.
So it's really getting difficult to get a test. I called CVS. I went online for CVS within 20 miles and not one of them had it for the Saturday, Sunday, or Monday.
Wow.
Hmm.
We went to Brockton High and we were done in 5 minutes. This is how long ago, Tim? Maybe a month ago?
Yeah, that was my experience there also, but not as easy as it was.
Yeah.
One
And by
more
the way,
item, item 17.
Oh,
Need a motion from somebody.
oh. Didn't we?
Did somebody make one?
Not yet.
No? Oh. So moved.
Adjournment? So moved. Yeah. Second?
Second, was that you, Carol?
To accept the bid about comment on shower curtain right now.
A motion has been made by Commissioner Janet
No.
Trask, seconded by Commissioner Carol Roberts. The motion is to adjourn.
Thank
Roll call, Mr. Tebow?
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Texera,
Yes.
Commissioner Trask,
Yes.
Okay.
and Commissioner Sullivan.
Yes. Meeting adjourned.
All right, I
Have
wish
safe trips, everyone.
you
Yeah.
happy Thanksgiving.
Safe trip, Tim.
Yeah. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, everybody.